Welcome to episode 304 of Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John, and I'm joined by Ryan.
Hey, everybody, here at the Game Deflators Podcast, we like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and we are the beauty in your eye in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
So this week we're playing a little bit of Eye of the Beholder on the Super Nintendo. Ryan, I don't know, man. This is shades of wizardry again.
Yeah, I mean, never have I ever played dungeon crawlers like these, and now 2 weeks in a row, I'm fine.
You're like, I'm no more. All good.
All right. So, anyways, this week we are going to be talking about some stuff. We're going to ponder what game world we would want to wander. And then Sony gets ready to launch a new console with a price tag through the stratosphere. Finally, back on Earth, everyone is getting ready for the Switch 2 with new rumors abound. And we'll be getting a new announcement soon.
And before we kick off this episode, you can find us on thegamedeflators.com, our up-to-date website, I think. It might be, might not. It looks good, though. Go check it out. You can also find us on YouTube, so like, subscribe, all of that stuff. If you're watching this, then you're on YouTube already, so hit the bell. Go ahead and subscribe. We'd appreciate it. You can also find us on social media at Game Deflators, on X at The Game Deflators, on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. You can also find us on a podcast app if you prefer to listen to us, and you're probably listening to us right now, actually. So subscribe on there too. Leave us a comment, like, subscribe, all of that. It's all good.
Yeah.
Like us everywhere. It's fantastic. All right. Well, let's go into our recent pickups. So I'll kick it off. I've got a number of pickups, actually. The first one I have here is Indica, which is some like story about a nun and somebody
Okay.
that's, I don't know. I find video games that have cool covers and say, that's a good price. Let me buy it. And that's what I got. This is actually a late birthday present because it was released, I think September 11th, actually. So there's that one. Haven't cracked it open yet. I also got Valkyrie Elysium.
Okay.
So that was $15 at GameStop. I had my $5 card or my $5 credit. Plus I had the discount for pro membership. So that was good. And the last one, which I'm excited about, Jak and Daxter remastered HD on the PS3.
Nice.
So pretty stoked about that one.
Love collections.
Yeah, me too. So I don't even think I have all of them on PS2. So it was like, why get it on PS2 when I could just get the remaster?
I've never really played the Jak and Daxter games. I kind of skipped those. I played a little bit of Ratchet and Clank, and I played Sly Cooper once I got the collection with all of them for Vita at GameStop a few years back. But I don't know, just I was never that much into like those platformers. And Jak, I know, had like a whole crazy story and it went all over the place. Got super dark later on. It's supposed to be really fun. Maybe I'll do those one year.
Yeah, I mean, you can borrow this, obviously. So I was a Ratchet and Clank guy. That's pretty much what I played. So Jak and Daxter kind of went to the wayside. Sly Cooper, I played the first one, never dove into the others, although I do want to get the remastered remaster HD set of that too. I think it's on PS3 for that one. But yeah, I mean, I haven't played Jak and Daxter games, so I figured kind of same idea you have, right? Like, might as well play through them. I got all three now, and I've always wanted to. So there's that kind of goes with it. Not pictured, I picked up a Game Deflators decal for my car. So that's cool. I'll get you one as well. And then we'll get a whole bunch of other people decals so they can have on their cars.
We're working on stuff.
Yeah. Also have a new Game Deflators t-shirt coming in. So that one is supposed to arrive tomorrow. So we'll see how that one looks. I think it'll look great. When it's all done, it's going to be purple with the white logo like we have in the video here. But if you are interested in a Game Deflators shirt or coaster or whiskey glass, or there's actually panties, but I didn't add that to the store.
Anything we could slap a logo on.
Anything you can slap a logo on, right? Bar soap, it's on there. You can actually find that on thegamedeflators.com. We have a little merch button. Jump on there, buy what you want. We don't actually manage anything. It just gets printed, but I think it's pretty cool. So I'll have a t-shirt pretty soon for that, and I will hopefully share that on the next episode. Maybe that's what I'll wear.
We could show it off now.
Yeah, I'm wearing DuckTales right now. Next week, maybe Game Deflators, but it'll have It's got the logo. I got to stop mirroring this thing. It'll have a logo on the left-hand side, which is the right-hand side video, and then a big-ass logo on the back. So that's the idea. And then as far as what I'm currently playing, so Gollum, I have not continued that one as of right now with my wife. We've just been super busy, but we do intend on picking that one up. So if you've been following on YouTube and you haven't seen any videos coming in, we've just been busy. That's all it is. Wolong Fallen Dynasty, fantastic. I have no idea what's going on story-wise, but I love the gameplay and I love the boss battles. And so I just finally hit my first snag. So what's funny is I had texted you, I'm like, dude, Wolong is easy. Like I'm level 40 something. I'm just blazing through the game. You can have these companions with you who help you in boss battles. I can't find for the life of me anybody to jump in a game with me anyways. So you have these companions and they help out. You know, the bosses so far have been easy. And then I faced Lu Bu. And apparently there's memes about Lu Bu on
Lubu's
Reddit.
The one.
Lu Bu is like the biggest pain in the ass, apparently. So there's like comments of like, you don't beat Lu Bu beats you. Like there's no way around it. Dude, the guy's brutal. It's just like he rides around on a horse. I actually just beat
you know what? I heard about this guy actually. I think I saw it in like a highlight reel or something.
I'm pretty sure I had like 50 attempts on this dude, and the thing is like I'm trying to stream the game, right? So today's stream is 32 minutes of me fighting Lu Bu, and then finally, I think on like maybe the 4th attempt today, I beat him. What's interesting though is I beat it with no companions. So I had these companions supporting me, and I kept getting crushed. And then I ended up switching to a sword instead of a spear. And then I went ahead and like stopped using companions, and I beat him. And
does it like scale the damage if you have companions or something?
I don't think so. But with the companion, the reason that you don't want to use companions in this fight is he turns his attention to those companions. So what you need is for him to turn his attention to you and then use his like special spirit attack. And then you deflect the spirit attack and you kind of increase his spirit bar. And then once that spirit bar hits a certain point, you can do like, you know, a fatal blow type of thing. Or a critical blow. And then after you do his critical blows, you're able to boost up your big spirit meter, which allows you to put out your divine beast. And the divine beast I was using has healing properties. So pretty much it shoots out like this ring of healing, and you just chill in that ring, and then you take damage, but you still heal up, which is great. So it's great for like late fight where you've run out of your divine flasks or dragon flasks, whatever it is. Once you've run out of that, you have like this last final hurrah that you can unleash and gain some health. I also have this like healing aura vitality thing that I shoot up a spell, and then whenever I deal damage, it heals a little bit of HP. So I got to a point where I was better understanding in my last fight or last attempt that if I hit that aura vitality just before I dealt the fatal blow, it would heal me like a good deal. So I could kind of help compensate like loss of HP. But the best part was I'm sitting there and I just see the health meter like slowly going. And every time he comes up, I try and strike him. I had no divine flask things or whatever left. And my wife is trying to talk to me in the middle of the fight. I'm like, hold on. Like, we're almost there. Hold on. And just that last little bit of health hit him, and then we were done. But yeah, I was kind of getting, you know how you get anxious in those big boss battles?
Yeah.
Like, you've played it so many times. You're like, I'm so close. And you're like, just, if I get hit one more time, I'm screwed. That was happening, but luckily I kind of pulled it out at the end. So I was really excited about that one. So I'll continue progressing through the story. Like I said, I have no idea what's going on, but it's a cool game. I definitely am enjoying it right now. And I'll probably look more into, like, I understand like what's kind of happening in the story, but it's not something I could sit there and say, yeah, so like this particular character is doing XYZ, because you have all of these companions joining you in this battle against like this dark wizard dude, I guess, of Chinese mythology. And you're joined by your different companions, and the world is currently on fire. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I can't tell you what's happening, but you can watch the playthrough and you can see
how much left do you have in the game.
I have no idea. I'm level 40. I've got 12 playthroughs on our thing on YouTube. That's probably the equivalent of about 12 hours. So I don't know, probably close to halfway through, roughly.
How long?
I think it's about
25 hours. And a half.
Yeah, so about halfway through.
Okay, cool.
It's good. I like it. It's definitely worth playing. It's scratching that itch for like that Sekiro style game before I can get my hands on Crystalla, which is basically Sekiro of cats. And we'll be talking to those developers here within the next couple weeks. We were supposed to talk to them recently, but they had some travel snafus that kind of kicked in. So
yeah,
but that's it for me, dude. How about you?
All right. So this week I picked up Space Marine 2. It's the second game that I've bought on my Xbox since I've got it. The only other game was Elden Ring.
Oh, like
I've just been doing the Game Pass. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Because it's like it's all digital, so it's like I'm not trying to spend money on like a whole big like digital library with them right now. So I think that this is just a game I was really excited about. I don't even know that I've really talked about being excited about it, but I like me some 40K stuff. I like listening to some YouTube videos on the lore. I used to have an Eldar army years and years ago. I've got like a couple little speeders up here that I tried to do kind of like Harlequin style, and a couple little like Grey Knights that I was doing. One that I tried to make look like all Gundam-y. But I really like 40K, and Space Marine 1 was an awesome game on the 360. So jumping in with Space Marine 2 was really fun. I was able to hook up to Twitch and record my playthrough stuff, but not the first like few missions or whatever. So I'm going to go back through, replay those, and then get all those sent over to our YouTube channel and get them posted there as well.
Nice. I forgot one of my pickups, by the way. So I ended up picking up those Hori controllers.
Yeah, those ones for the Switch.
Yeah, is it Hori or Hori?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm just going to continue saying it so the algorithm picks up a different audience for us. So yeah, they're pretty cool. I got one that has Mario on it, one that's like a blue and gray. They feel solid, and they were $25 a piece on Woot. So yeah, they're normally 60. So that kind of worked out. And the shipping was supposed to be September 19th to 20th arrival. So when I got to my door today after going out, I looked at the doorstep, saw a box, didn't know what the heck it was, figured maybe somebody sent us a gift for our son, and 2 controls. So they're charging right now, and I'll hopefully pop on some Mario Kart and play some Mario Kart later since I've got the Nintendo Super version. And then I also picked up a couple new Joy-Con sticks because I had some drift issues, as you had noted the other day.
Yeah.
It was brutal, dude. I was trying to, like, it just got worse and worse to the point where, like, Funky Kong was going all the way over.
It was so hard.
Yeah, it was difficult, dude. And so my sister was playing with me, and she's like, it can't be an issue. Like, how's that so bad? I'm like, I have literally been crushing you in every single game. And now that I'm like veering all the way to the right, I can't do a drift. I can't do anything like I would want to. Because if you're trying to drift right, well,
it's impossible.
It's impossible.
I mean, just making a left-hand turn was like hard.
Oh yeah, no, it was terrible. So yeah, that was needed. So I went ahead and swapped out those sticks. I kind of figured I had done the blue one years ago. Well, not years ago, maybe 2 years ago. But I didn't do the red one yet. And the red one was the one that was drifting. So
yeah, you should get they make Hall effect replacement joysticks now. So you don't have to worry about drift ever again.
Nice. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I beat Space Marine, and I mean, congratulations me for actually beating a game. So that felt good. It's not a very long game, but it's really epic. If you've not played any Warhammer stuff or are unfamiliar to the world, it references some stuff that happened in the first game as like a plot point, but it's nothing that you can't just like kind of take what they're giving you and just move forward with it. I highly recommend it. Or if you can somehow manage to get your hands on a copy of the original one and play that first, might as well do that too. I was actually, I looked at my shelf the other day. I was like, is that one of the games that I still have? And it's sadly not one of the games I still have. Another fallen one of the things I've traded in.
You know what we should do? We should do like a TTRPG to video game adaptation, like 4 games in a row. Like the Magic game, we could do Warhammer. Warhammer's technically tabletop RPG. Yeah. Could do that one. We could do Settlers of Catan which isn't TTRPG, but it's, tabletop. So that might be kind of a fun month.
Yeah, but is that just Settlers of Catan, but just on a console?
Yeah, but it has graphics and it has little tiny sheep and other things and different.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's
boards.
like, it's not really I guess it's an adaptation. I'm not going to start an argument here. Anyways, they're
technically not adaptations, but yeah.
That's all I got for this week. Unless you want to count, I got a few packs of One Piece cards. I got a cool shiny king and queen, both in the same package, which was cool.
You also got Bloomborough Magic cards because we drafted the other day, so it was good.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
more fuel for the fire. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, but I want to make a Bloomborough cube. So any chance I get to Bloomborough up, I'm gonna take advantage of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be buying boxes for a while, dude. Like that's definitely a cool set, one that I want to continue playing. And then Duskmorn, I might buy some boxes of that down the road.
I think I'm just gonna do pre-release for that and then probably sit out the rest of it.
Some cool broken mechanics in that one, so that's a set that I might want to do for like long-term value. So we'll see. But Bloomborough is just a fun set. Like that reminds me of like Lorwyn and Shadowmoor and all those.
Yeah, those are like my favorite sets too.
Yeah, they're some of my favorites. All right, well, let's dive into a discussion topic here of what game world would you want to live in?
Man, so. I thought I had thought about it for like a few minutes. I was like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. And then John comes on and he's like, oh yeah, I still need to think. I was like, yeah, you got time to think while I'm finishing getting the outline together. And then, of course, John comes up with like the best answer. Give the people the best answer, John.
The best answer is Pokemon.
Yes, the best answer is Pokemon.
Pokemon is
no school after age 10. Wandering the wilds in a world where Team Rocket is the worst thing you could possibly run into.
And they're not even that like they're not even that good of criminals. Like if you can say, that they're supposed to be good criminals, but yeah, I mean, it's the best thing ever, dude. Like you just go around at the age of 10, catching Pokemon, eating berries all day, riding on Charizards.
These jelly donuts are so good.
Yeah, I mean, dude, come on. And like exploring the wilds and doing things that no 10-year-old should be doing. Like, I think that's perfect. Flying on Pokemon, like Pidgeotto for some strange reason, or Pidgey, who has fly. I still don't understand how that mechanic should even work for some of those Pokemon to learn fly, but they do.
Dude, they're Pokemon. They defy physics.
Can you imagine how big is a Pidgey? A Pidgey's like the size of a pigeon, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I mean, look how like big a Charizard's body is versus its wing size.
Okay, true. But like a Pidgey carrying you with all of your gear, come on. There's no way.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. But that's the world, dude. That's the perfect world.
Yeah, and I've got my full-size Cubone plush over here. I would love to live in a Pokemon world.
Did you actually get the one from Target, like the big one?
Yeah, somebody got it for me I think Brie got it for me for Christmas or something.
Yeah, it's like a pretty expensive. Actually, you know what? For a plushie that's Pokemon, that's not too bad of a price when I saw it.
No, I mean, at Target, like, it's not like you're going to the Pokemon Center and getting something like premium.
Yeah. Yeah, like I got that, what is it? That Beetle? Yeah, the Beetle guy from Target. And he was like $25. Wasn't bad. So I don't know if I see those anymore. But yeah, Pokemon, best world.
They got all kinds of more Pokemon there now.
Oh, I'll have to check. Yeah. Let's see.
So anyways, the answer I kind of shot out right away was Animal Crossing, because like, even though you still have like a house payment, they're like super chill about it. And you spend most of your day just kind of like fishing or catching bugs. You can just find furniture on the beach and it's in great condition and bring it home with you. It's awesome.
Can't you technically do that? Can't you technically do that in like this society, this world? Find furniture on the beach that's washed up from Japan, on the West Coast.
Yeah, but not like nothing you really want. I'm not taking real beach furniture.
Oh, I see.
I want mythical, clean beach furniture that I can carry 80 pieces of in my pocket because they just collapse into a leaf.
Yeah, and here's the thing, in both of these worlds, you can walk into people's homes with no repercussions, apparently. So that's kind of cool. Family eating dinner. You're like, hi, I'm just going to talk to you with Pokemon on my side because I'm a Pokemon master. And you're just like, I'm going to go find apples and take them from your house.
Right. Let me see what you in your trash can. I like to check everybody's trash can when I reach a new town.
What's that? You have a computer? I want to deposit my Pokemon into your random computer in your house. Yeah, I think both of those worlds would be a lot of fun, actually, to live in. And of course, it differs from my first answer to you, which was Fallout. You're like, why the hell would you do Fallout?
Yeah, I know. I've seen that show now. Like, Fallout is a cool game world to play in, but to live in, nah, man, nah.
I mean, maybe that question is like, if you had to live in a post-apocalyptic world, which one would you choose? And like, honestly, Fallout in comparison to like Dead Island or Walking Dead or something with vampires,
or Horizon.
Well, I don't know, Horizon would be kind of cool. You have
That'd
giant
be terrifying
mechanical.
though, like giant angry robot T-Rexes.
Yeah, but then you get to live with dinosaurs, and that's kind of cool.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's at least not radioactive. Like the fact that you don't have to like strain yourself to just find clean, drinkable water, that's a big win.
Yeah, and there's still animals. So Horizon might be a pretty good like next one to choose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like Horizon. That's a good one. All right, let's go on to more serious topics like the PS5 Pro. So I'm going to be looking over at my screen over here. And it says PS5 Pro PC type version that you could purchase would cost a fair bit more. That's what Digital Foundry kind of said because I screwed up the title of the article. And this is WCCF Tech. So basically, for like $800, you could build a PS4 or PS5 Pro. I don't know why I keep saying 4. Maybe because I don't see the significant difference between a PS5 and a PS5 Pro. So a few things here that I've heard throughout the course of a week, Ryan. One of them is saying, well, hey, the PS5 Pro is specifically for people that have a PS5 so they can go ahead and upgrade. GameStop is doing like $450 credit. You can go ahead and update to a Pro, right? Cool. So you're looking at still $250 plus a stand, plus a disk drive, plus taxes. You're still looking at like $400 even on that, which is decent, right? If that's the direction you want to go. If you don't have any of these consoles yet, whether it's a digital PS5 disc version or eventually a PS5 Pro, you could build a pretty decent PC for about $800, throwing in a RTX 4070, which is going to be the closest GPU apparently. Although I've seen comparisons saying like a 6800 AMD 6800, which is what I have, would be okay as well. You're looking at about 32 gigs of RAM. You need 2 terabytes. You need a decent processor. I saw the Ryzen 7 3700X, which is about a $200 processor. Apparently, that one's pretty comparable. Overall, like I said, you're looking at about $800. So, in the grand scheme of things, and in your opinion, Ryan, if you had a choice between, let's say, well, you actually don't have a PS5 Pro or a PS5 in general. If you had to get one of the two, given that like $700 price point, what would you end up going with?
So, John,
new computer or PS5?
The article actually says that it would be a lot more expensive to build like a PS5 Pro equivalent PC. Not the same price.
That's what I was saying. It'd be about $800 or so to build a PS5 Pro PC version.
No, they're saying it would be more than the cost of a PS5 Pro.
Definitely not.
Probably a fair bit more.
Nope. That's completely false. I've literally looked up the specs. Dude, I've looked it up. I just literally pulled up multiple articles that showed a 4070 coming in about $400. You're looking at a processor is $200. So you got 6 right there in your core components. Your RAM is maybe $100. You're looking at a power, your overall
a motherboard, a case,
all of that,
2 terabyte SSD drive.
It depends on what you're looking at, but I've seen builds that are in the $800 range. I've seen builds in the $1,000 range. The other thing to consider is the overall usage beyond just gaming. So that's the other thing you have to factor in as well.
So I would not build an $800 PC. I don't think that would be good for very long. I think it'd be like you'd have to make a lot of sacrifice. Like if I was going to buy a PC, I wouldn't build the cheapest PC to try to compete with the PS5. I would just like build an actual good PC and pay those premium prices, because that's the whole point. Like you can get better quality than what the PS5 is going to give you by investing more money. Like that's the whole reason to build a PC in general. So I think the premise here makes sense, that you're trying to see like, okay, what's the PC equivalent? But I think it's kind of missing the whole point. It's like the same thing with the PS5 Pro in general, is just that like it's kind of just an expensive thing for people that are really wanting to be like enthusiast about it, or potentially customers like me who have held out and never bought one, and now it's worth paying that extra price. Because even though like PS5 games are going to PC, I just like the ease of use of a console. Like the fact that if I built an $800 PC, I would have to finagle a million settings for like every game that I wanted to play on it. I wouldn't want to have to deal with all of that
I mean,
when I
that's
could
kind of
just have the PS5.
that's kind of the beauty of it, though. And the prices I was throwing out to you, by the way, is brand new prices. You could technically go on like, I think Newegg still does used stuff. I'm not sure, open box, but you can find open box deals. You can find processors on eBay for much cheaper than the general retail. You can find used graphics cards that are going to be a cheaper price point as well. So like a 6800 right now is going to, the AMD version is going to run you about 350, I want to say, brand new. You can get it cheaper used, right? Your processor, it's $200. You can get it cheaper used. People are upgrading on PC. So yes, it's not going to be top of the line, but in terms of PS5 Pro equivalent, you can get pretty close to that price point. And then we're talking about overall long-term usage beyond just gaming. And as far as finagling like your settings and all that, it depends on what you're using it for, right? If you want it as a pure gaming machine, I've seen people hook up a straight up tower next to their main entertainment center and have a, Bluetooth control setup going for it, turn on the PC, and then you're off, right? Wireless keyboard, wireless mouse, get to what you want to do, and it's on your TV. So, and then as far as finagling settings, I honestly kind of like that. Being able to have more settings available to me to play certain games, but things on Steam, like in all of the experience I've had with PC gaming so far, I haven't really had to do much as far as changing over settings. It's more so, do I want to make it look much better than what it is out of the box? And having that flexibility. But like overall, it hasn't been difficult. It's pretty straightforward nowadays. It doesn't feel like it did in the old days where you had to make crazy modifications to all your settings to get a game to play, basically. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So. In general, I feel like with a PC, you can do, 120 or more frames plus like ray tracing and 4K. Like if you're, really upgrading your PC and getting it to like do great stuff, you're going to have such a huge advantage. Like I would definitely still go with the PS5 Pro, just cuz like eventually I'm going to get one. I just don't know when, because like the other thing is like there's 4 games on it maybe that I want. So why am I going to spend $700 plus for that? And then the other argument is, that extra $300 really worth what we're going to be getting? Like I'm really hesitant to say it is, and I think a lot of people are, because most of what they're saying it does is what they said the original PS5 was going to do and hasn't been able to do. So the fact that they already lied to everybody once this generation, and now they're having to try to follow up and patch that, but in hardware.
I want to say the PS5, it might have been a PS5, initially had like a label that said 8K.
Yeah, and then they removed it.
And then they removed it. Yeah. So honestly, man, like if I didn't have a PS5 and I was looking at the Pro and I was looking at and didn't have a PC, obviously, I would definitely be looking at PC route at that point. I don't see the overall value. I see the convenience factor, right? But considering the jump in graphics, yes, you got ray tracing, you got that cool stuff that's going for it, but you can get that, I want to say, on like an NVIDIA 3080. I want to say like the 3000 series, I want to say, and that's like, we're in 4000 right now. So I want to say the 3080 had ray tracing on it. And that's and that game can play 4K. You can probably honestly get better frames per second than you could with the PS5 Pro. So, and the value on that, like the overall cost is far cheaper.
I mean, they're comparing the Pro to a 4070 or a 4060.
They're comparing to 40,
not comparable.
If you look at the comments, people are like, a 4070, really? Like, that's well beyond like what the PS5 Pro can.
I mean, if you guys if you in the comments want to argue with DF Direct, be my guest. But Richard knows
I'm just saying. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that the comments are saying what they're saying, but I think it's minimal, those upgrades that we've seen. Yeah, you got ray tracing, but it's very minimal. And people are like, that's where the memes are coming in, dude. Like, comparison of PS5 to PS5 Pro. Like, they're the same picture, that type of stuff. So, I don't know. I'm in a boat of PC on this one, dude. And I love Sony, but I don't see myself getting a Pro anytime soon. I'll hold off till the 6. And the only reason I would even get a PS6, if that even happens down the road, is purely for the convenience factor of sitting on my couch, because I do actually use my computer for work. So it makes more sense to, have a PS5 and lay back versus sit in this chair for hours on hours after work. So, all right, let's go into your article. It's a lot more fun.
All right. So Nintendo Switch 2 leaker just tipped price and launch date. This is by Jeff Parsons at Tom's Guide. So after the Sony announcement this week, we got this rumor for when the Switch 2 announcement is going to happen and the potential price points. So we're looking at sometime early next month for the announcement with a base price of $400. And this is by Moisty Charlie, is the Redditor who announced this rumor. And they also think that there will be 2 different SKUs. Now, most of the people that I've heard talking about this are thinking that the second SKU could be some version of an all digital Switch, which I hadn't really considered. And then people started talking about like the all digital Wii that came out back in the day that I think me and a lot of other people probably forgot was ever a thing. But I mean, in my mind, it really just makes more sense for them to continue like the Switch Lite version. Like, they're going to want a version that's going to be able to switch, and they're going to want a cheap version that doesn't be able to switch, because that already sells like hotcakes. Like, I guess launching both simultaneously gives people that option, but it also feels a little un-Nintendo to not want to sell you both eventually. Like, it makes more sense for them to have one thing on the market that everybody buys, and then another thing on the market that half those people also buy, and then anybody who didn't buy the first one buys. Or maybe it's just a supply thing. Maybe having 2 SKUs will make it so that they don't get sold out as crazy fast.
I'll give you another option here. When the Wii U launched, you had a white version and you had a black version. One of them had more hard drive space than the other, if I recall. So that could be, and it could be different colors. That could be something too. That
built-in SSD instead of taking SD memory.
It could be one is a terabyte, one is 2 terabytes. It could be 500 gigs and one is 1 terabyte. I mean, it could be colors. It could literally be one has new Joy-Cons that are like I have, red and blue, and the other one is gray and black or gray and white. Like,
I wonder,
any type of difference in those 2 consoles is going to create 2 SKUs right off the bat.
I'm going to add this to my Switch theory. So anybody who hasn't heard this before, my Switch 2 theory is that the new gimmick will be that the Joy-Cons can also go on the like top and bottom of what would be the screen traditionally, so that you could then hold it in portrait mode. And that way you could play,
would be this.
Yeah, that way you could play mobile games and things like that on the Switch, because they would be formatted appropriately and have the controllers mounted on for, like, anybody who wants to play that type of game. But maybe one of the SKUs is like a 3G, or I guess at this point a 5G model. Like, we used to have the Vitas and stuff that had the 3G capability So maybe they're trying to push into, hey, let's get, everywhere connectivity on the Switch 2. Like that's what we want, is you really feeling like you can play anywhere.
Yeah, it could be that. I mean, you brought that one up a couple times in the past as something that'd be pretty cool. I do kind of lean towards the digital, and the non-digital version that's been cited here. Just given that that's a trend right now with these companies. But Nintendo has been one to kind of buck the trend overall, right? So they may not go that route. They may still go physical all the way. And I guess I'm not a Switch guru as far as like what the hardware can do and what it costs to make one versus the other. But what would be from a cartridge slot standpoint and the stuff that's in it, like how much more expensive is it to do that? Right. And I understand, like, from a cart perspective, like the carts themselves are expensive to manufacture and the cases and things of that nature. But does Nintendo want to go fully physical? I mean, fully digital? And the reason I bring that
I
up is
doubt it.
their audience is younger, right? So, like, you probably rely on kids destroying their physical carts, losing them, getting more of those into those households. When you go digital only, yeah, you can buy multiple for those kids, but if each of those kids has one Mario Kart and you have a family of 3 and 2 of them lose it, well, guess what? That's another $120 that family now needs to spend because that kid lost the cart. So, and there's a lot of mistrust as far as like putting credit cards on a Nintendo website. And we've seen Sony have multiple breaches as well. Like, do you really want to have your data housed on one of those, big gaming companies? Not
Yeah.
really. So, yeah, I can see multiple scenarios here for SKUs. So it'll be interesting to see what they announce. But it says it's a month from now. So that kind of plays in with what we were talking about a while back, right? Like make an announcement in the fall time and then have a spring release in 2025.
Sounds like what we're going to get. I'm really
Yeah.
excited. I want to see what they're going to show off. I think one thing that we didn't really mention, just kind of talking about the PS5, showcase that they did, and it was really disappointing to see examples of games that have been out. I mean, The Last of Us 2, that's the game that you're going to keep showing off. Like, we've already had 2 copies of that game come out. Like, move on. Like, give us something. Like, nobody feels like there's that many games in this generation. So I feel like Nintendo is going to probably do a much better job of showing off the new hardware with, maybe not fully in-depth look at the games, but some kind of, hopefully they make a pack-in game this time. Like, I think 1-2 Switch should have been a pack-in game. Everybody thought that. So whatever they want to do to show off how good the Switch 2 is going to look and whatever its new gimmick is, it better be more exciting than what they used to show off the PS5 Pro.
And one thing to kind of go back to that conversation on the value on PC or PS5 Pro is the game library, right? Like, yes, you do have the ability with a disc version to play PS4 games, but at that point, you might as well play PS4, right? And yes, you could get the ray tracing on some of those PS5 games, but not everything's going to be supported out the gate with something like that. So you do technically have, if you wanted to go to ray tracing route, which honestly I don't think it looks good, but is it going to make or break your experience? No. You have a huge library of games through Steam and Epic Store and all of that, right? Like you have Xbox games, you have PlayStation games now, you've got games that are on neither of those consoles. So your library is ginormous at that point, plus the backlog of games from like the 80s and 90s and other stuff that you can play too. So I think that's just one other reason to validate going to PC route versus this current mid-gen refresh. So, all right. Our last piece for today is Advanced Dungeons and Dragons: Eye of the Beholder. So this was developed by Westwood Associates, published by Capcom. I didn't even notice that, to be honest. Capcom. Designed by Philip W. Goro. Dude, you got 4 names on here. Let's see if I can get these. Heidi Larimore, Paul S. Mudra, and Joseph Bostic. Pretty sure I got them all right.
You did your best.
I did my best, yeah. So the SNES version was released in 1994, but the game itself came out in 1991 on the Amiga. It was released on the PC in 1992, and then it also had a release on the Sega CD in 1994. The genre itself is a dungeon crawler, and it had a reception on the SNES of about a 6 out of 10. But on other areas, it was actually much higher. So, like Sega
Yeah,
CD
anything
had,
with like a point and click interface would have been a lot better.
well, Sega CD had a 81. So, I mean,
I don't
and
know.
an 87, but then the Super Nintendo had a 6. Actually, Electronic Gaming Monthly gave the Sega CD 7.2 out of 10 and gave the SNES 6.2. So something was different. Maybe a different reviewer at that point. Could have been anything. Either way, Ryan, kick us off with what this game's about.
So, in Eye of the Beholder, you take the role of a party of adventurers hired by the Lords of Waterdeep to try to root out the evil beneath the city. You and your party of 4 start off delving the dungeons beneath the city, fighting off all kinds of kobolds and drow and dwarfs and all kinds of underground baddies in the D&D verse, in search of Xanathar the Beholder. And he is the ultimate villain of the game, a very famous beholder and an icon of the series, to be sure. Love Xanathar. He's got his own guide to everything, actually.
Yeah, he does. I could have sworn Xanathar was one of those that was like okay-ish with people, right? Like he's not a chaotic evil or anything like that. I thought
I think
Xanathar
he's
was
still
like,
evil. Like I think the Lords of Waterdeep would have issue with him, but like maybe not like the
maybe not like wizards and adventurers and things of that
yeah,
nature.
just like some randos or some like thugs. They're probably cool with Xanathar. Because I remember reading in the guide, he likes to gamble and he's got that goldfish and stuff. He's got
Yeah,
his own like gang.
yeah, like I don't know much D&D lore. I enjoy playing it. I enjoy the stories that you develop from it, but in terms of digging into lots of the expansive lore on like Waterdeep and Neverwinter and Luskan and all these other places. And then of course when you start going into other areas it's even harder, right?
Oh, you actually played some of the games, didn't you play?
Mhm. I played Neverwinter Nights and
Yeah.
beat through that. Yeah, so that was fun. That one you go through Luskan, Neverwinter, and a couple of other cities. I don't remember offhand, dude. It's been a bit.
Yeah.
But I enjoy. But there's not a lot of lore that's tied in that, right? You have like one
Mm.
central story that's created for that game, which is still cool. To get to go to the cities. And then when we started playing Joel's Homebrew at some point, he started introducing some of those other cities, and it was kind of cool because it was like, oh yeah, I've been to that place. I've seen that
Yeah.
before, or vice versa. You're playing Neverwinter and it was, or another type of game, and you happen to like Baldur's Gate, for example, right? I haven't jumped into that yet, but I ran a campaign that the first however many chapters were specifically Baldur's Gate. And then you go
Yeah.
into, is it Eltriel, I think is the name of a city. And then you go into Avernus after that, right? Like, so there's all of these cool pieces of like D&D that you kind of fish from, from your wall campaign experiences and you see them in a video game. It's just a nice like closure, I guess, or nice kind of full circle
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, this in general, like just kind of going into it, it's very similar to what we played of Wizardry, right? So it's dungeon crawl with a few different characters, and you're just literally going through walls and battling creatures that appear in front of you to try and make your way through what is effectively a huge maze with no map to kind of tell you where the heck to go, and that's it. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much the gameplay.
It was a tough one.
Well, and like you said, right? It's supposed to be a point and click type of deal. If we had a mouse and a keyboard, we'd probably be pretty cool with it. It
I
wouldn't be
wonder
too
if
big a deal.
SNES mouse compatible.
I mean, yeah, that's true. It probably is. And I don't have a mouse to plug in, so that doesn't help us at all. But yeah, I mean, if you have a mouse, that's probably the best way to go with it versus a controller.
Or
I mean,
wasn't Mario Paint like, weren't there only like a couple games that were ever compatible with that?
honestly don't know. I didn't use the mouse. I think I played Mario Paint like one time. Actually, you know what? I do have a mouse somewhere. I didn't even think to pull that out. I'm pretty sure I have one, but it's probably not clean. The little ball on there is
Yeah,
probably
who
dirty.
knows?
So God, yeah, it's gonna be terrible. Yeah, I mean, look, my experience with it and what we played, it was very similar to Wizardry. I didn't really like Wizardry that much. Very old in terms of what we were experiencing, right? It definitely is not one to play in 2024 compared to when it came out. I'm sure Eye of Beholder was fantastic when it first came out for most people. Just doesn't hold up the test of time. Great
Well,
colors. I
the
do like the
6.2
graphics.
out of 10 would argue against that point. I think this is probably an okay game if you play it on like a computer or something.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But even that though, like we kind of talked about Wizardry. Like even if you played that today on a computer, would it really be that fun to go through that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess not. So let's jump into the brass tacks here first, and then because I got something to bring to the table on that front.
All right.
So complete in box would run you 51.19. That peaked at 57.43 back in December of 2021. Currently trending down. Loose copy run you 22.74. Peaked at 47.30 back in September of 22. Also trending down. But digital on PC, you can get it for $9.99 in the Forgotten Realms, the Archives Collection 1. So that comes with like Eye of the Beholder, Eye of the Beholder 2, and Eye of Beholder 3. So as far as those other games, I think being a lot better in the sequel department, getting this wrapped in with those, not bad, probably, you know. At least maybe you'll have enough appreciation if you play a sequel to maybe, you know, throw that on a second monitor and, you know, watch some YouTube and just kind of click around and be like, oh, I see, you know, where they started and everything. Like that could be a good experience, but that's as far as I would recommend going.
And see, here's the thing though. If you buy this collection on Steam, well, that goes into what we talked about with PC, right? Like you're playing it on PC, which is where it was meant to be played, versus Super Nintendo. It's not, it's been ported. Yes, you probably have mouse compatibility there. And then it just kind of goes back into that little rabbit hole of is it truly worth it in this day and age?
Well, I
I
definitely
personally,
wouldn't build a PC for the price of a Super Nintendo. I
you
don't
you
think
would
that would be a very good PC.
you could find like a $50 PC and play this game, I'm sure. I don't think you'll have any issues playing this game on a really old PC found in a dumpster.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, dude, it's an inflated for me. Even at the $10 price point for like a digital collection, I just can't see these games don't hold up for me nowadays. They're not, in my opinion, they're not fun. They don't give you the full D&D experience like you would expect. I would honestly probably find more fun in like a choose your own adventure style video game where you're like literally
Okay.
selecting options and then going through with those options versus this. This to me is a headache. You're trying to select which character is going to attack and like the actual controls are difficult to manage. Hitting certain enemies is a bit of a pain. Picking up items, running into walls, strafing doesn't like to room doesn't work very well. We had issues with like running, for example, because just like the ability to click forward and run is so difficult on a control, probably even a mouse. So it's definitely a no for me on this one.
So we need to I screwed up. I had the Sega CD version pulled up on price charting.
Oh, okay. Well, we can keep talking. I mean, it's not a big deal.
Okay, so complete inbox will run you 6150 on Super Nintendo, and that peaked at 74.92 back in May of 24. Loose price currently now is 1302, and that peaked at 1924 back in January of 2024.
I was gonna say
So
that loose felt kind of high, but I was like, I'll roll with it. Still a no for me. I still think it's inflated.
yeah, still inflated. One thing I will say about this. Oh man, dude. So the box is worth more than the game loose,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's a cool box.
this box is actually phenomenal. I do appreciate the box art for this game,
Yeah,
and the
definitely.
actual label on the game too is pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely give this one some box love. But yeah, it's super inflated. Would not buy for this price. Would potentially look at the Steam collection if you are interested, though.
Yep. All right. Well, next game we're going to be playing is Demon's Stone on the PS2. I have a thought that we're going to have a better experience with that game than we did with the prior 2 games. And then we'll be capping off our 4 games of D&D adventure style games with Dark Alliance on the PS4. So that should be pretty fun. Yeah. All right. Well, this has been episode 304 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John.
I'm Ryan.
He's Ryan, as it says on our screen here. It says, I'm Ryan. I caught that at the end. Yeah. Well, thanks for listening.